He looked healthy, but his heart was failing quietly every morning. Have you ever met someone who seemed perfectly fine, fit, sharp, active, and then suddenly they were gone? That's the kind of story we're about to uncover. Because the truth is heartbreaking. Looking healthy on the outside doesn't always mean your heart is safe on the inside. Imagine this: every morning you wake up feeling all right, maybe a little tired, maybe you chalk it up to aging. You eat a sensible breakfast, take a morning walk, even keep up with your medications. But deep inside, without a single scream or warning, your heart is quietly giving up. That's exactly what was happening to Gerald. He was 72, retired, a former architect who still went swimming twice a week. Friends envied his energy. His wife said he had the vitality of a man in his 50s. But every morning, while brushing his teeth or sipping tea, his heart struggled. Not in a dramatic, chest-clutching way, no. It was silent, like a dimmer switch lowering the light just a bit more each day. No one noticed, not even him. And that's what makes this story terrifying. Because Gerald didn't skip workouts. He wasn't overweight. He didn't have a history of heart disease. Yet one quiet morning, he collapsed on the floor, just minutes after tying his shoelaces. The autopsy didn't reveal a sudden heart attack. It revealed a gradual, unnoticed heart weakening. A condition worsened every single morning by one harmless habit we're going to expose in this article. But before we get there, let me ask you, do you feel confident in your morning routine? Do you think your heart is safe just because you feel okay? If so, buckle up, because you might be repeating the same mistake Gerald did. This isn't about scaring you, it's about revealing what no one tells seniors, what even your doctor might overlook. The most dangerous heart damage isn't the kind that knocks you off your feet. It's the kind that silently chips away at you day by day. And the worst part? It's often caused by the very habits we think are helping us. In the next section, we'll break a major myth wide open. One that's been repeated so often, it feels like truth. But it could be killing your heart without you knowing it. And trust me, once you see the science behind it, you'll never look at your healthy morning the same way again. The morning habit that feels healthy, but quietly weakens the heart. 500 words. We've been told for years that starting your daylight is good for you. That waking up, skipping breakfast, sipping black coffee, or having just a piece of toast is somehow cleaner, smarter, healthier. It's become a kind of unspoken wisdom, especially among older adults trying to be careful with digestion, weight, or blood sugar. But what if that very routine, the one that feels gentle, even virtuous, is quietly starving your heart every single morning? What if this harmless habit is one of the most dangerous traps we've normalized, especially after 60? You see, the heart isn't just any muscle. It's a 24/7 engine. And unlike your arms or legs, it doesn't get to rest. It works while you sleep. It works when you sit still. It even works while you're reading this sentence. But when you wake up in the morning, your body has just gone 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without food, water, or movement. Your blood is thicker. Your vessels are slightly tighter. Your body is dehydrated. And in that exact moment, without warning, you pour caffeine into the system. Caffeine, a diuretic, a stimulant. It spikes your stress hormones, shrinks your blood vessels, and tells your heart, it's time to perform. But the heart isn't ready. It hasn't been nourished. It hasn't been hydrated. And yet it obeys, because that's what the heart does. It keeps going. It carries you even when you give it nothing. Over time, though, that obedience comes at a cost. Day by day, the wear builds. Your blood pressure rises slightly. Your rhythm gets just a little more irregular. Your morning fatigue becomes harder to shake. But it doesn't feel like an emergency. It feels like getting older. And so the damage continues, slow and quiet and invisible, until one day something breaks. A fall, a faint, a heart scan that shows scarring no one expected. And by then, the heart has already been calling for help for years. We just didn't know how to listen. That's why I'm telling you this now, not to frighten you but to invite you to look again, to see your mornings not as a blur of habit, but as a sacred window to protect your heart. Because the most dangerous part of this pattern is how normal it feels. And the most powerful change you can make starts not with medicine, but with a glass of water, a deep breath, and a choice to nourish the organ that never stops choosing you. The morning that changed everything. 500 words. It was just after 6 in the morning when I first noticed something odd on the cardiac monitor in room 311. Just a faint dip in heart rate, a stutter where there should have been rhythm, like a tired breath between words. I wouldn't have looked twice if it were any other patient, but this was Frank. 68, clear-eyed, sharp-minded, a man who still wore cologne in the hospital and asked for the Wall Street Journal every morning. You wouldn't have guessed he was there for heart issues. His chart read like a success story. No major blockages, manageable cholesterol, moderate exercise, no diabetes. A grandfather, a retired teacher, the kind of patient who made you forget why cardiology can be so unforgiving. But that morning, as I walked into his room, the light hit him differently. He looked drained, pale, like someone running on empty. Didn't sleep well, he muttered with a small smile, his hand shaking slightly as he reached for a paper cup filled with black coffee. No water in sight. No breakfast. No movement. I glanced at the monitor again. His oxygen saturation was dipping, slowly, silently. Frank, I asked gently, did you drink any water? He shook his head. Not yet. Just my usual coffee. Haven't been hungry lately. And that's when the weight of it hit me. Not as a doctor, but as a human being. This man, who looked so well, so composed, had spent years starting his day the same way millions of seniors do. On an empty stomach with no hydration, asking his aging heart to do more with less. Within minutes, his condition worsened. His pulse thinned, his lips tinged blue, and he struggled to speak. We stabilized him with fluids and medication, and he survived that scare, but the damage had already begun long before that morning. It was in the routine, in the habit, in the quiet decisions no one thought were dangerous. After Frank recovered, he told me something that stayed with me. I always thought I was doing things right. I just never imagined something so simple could push my heart that far. He wasn't alone. So many patients like Frank walk into hospitals every year with hearts slowly failing. Not from chaos, but from quiet, repetitive neglect. And as I looked at him that morning, alive, grateful, forever changed, I realized this was the story that needed to be told. Not because Frank's case was rare, but because it wasn't. It was common. It was everywhere. And most of all, it was preventable. The morning that changed everything. The 5 morning mistakes that slowly destroy a senior's heart, and most people don't even realize. You might think your morning is harmless. You wake up, stretch, maybe sip your coffee, scroll through the news, take your meds. But what if I told you that 5 simple habits, 5 innocent choices, might be sabotaging your heart from the very first hour of your day? And worse, most of them are encouraged by modern routines or misinformed advice. Let's break them down, starting from the most subtle and ending with the most dangerous. Mistake number 5. Waking up too fast. It sounds strange, right? But for seniors, the act of going from lying down to standing in seconds can cause a dangerous drop in blood pressure, a condition called orthostatic hypotension. The heart and blood vessels, after hours of rest, aren't ready for sudden shifts. Many people get dizzy and chalk it up to aging, but that dizzy spell could mean your heart is struggling to maintain blood flow to the brain. It's like asking your car to go from 0 to 60 without warming up the engine. The fix. Before you get out of bed, spend 2 minutes sitting up slowly, breathing deeply, flexing your legs, and gently moving your feet. That tiny pause allows your cardiovascular system to adjust, giving your heart a chance to wake up with you, not against you. Mistake number 4. Drinking coffee first thing, before water. Coffee might be your morning ritual, but drinking it before rehydrating is like pouring gasoline into an engine with no oil. You've gone 6 to 8 hours without fluid, and your blood is thicker in the morning. Caffeine further dehydrates you, raising cortisol, constricting blood vessels, and making the heart work harder to push blood through a smaller volume. Dehydration in the morning is a silent stress test for the heart, and if your arteries are already stiff from age or plaque buildup, this strain becomes dangerous. The solution: drink at least 12 to 16 ounces of room temperature water before your first sip of coffee. Add a pinch of Himalayan salt or a slice of lemon to help replenish electrolytes. Your heart will thank you, and over time, you may notice less morning fatigue, better circulation, and more stable blood pressure. Mistake number 3. Skipping breakfast, or eating the wrong one. Seniors often skip breakfast or choose light, sugary foods thinking it's easy on the stomach. But this can be a hidden trap. Skipping breakfast deprives your heart of early-day nutrients, forcing it to function on leftover reserves while adrenaline kicks in to keep you alert. Over time, this triggers insulin resistance, weakens the heart muscle, and increases the risk of strokes and arrhythmias. Worse, if you finally eat something sweet mid-morning, like cereal, muffins, or jammed toast, you spike your blood sugar without fiber or fat to buffer it. That blood sugar roller coaster taxes the heart, inflames the arteries, and promotes plaque buildup. Instead, aim for a balanced breakfast. Protein, like eggs or Greek yogurt, healthy fats, like avocado or walnuts, fiber, like oats or chia, and magnesium-rich greens if possible. This combo reduces inflammation and gives your heart exactly what it needs to thrive. Mistake number 2. Taking heart medications on an empty stomach. This is one most doctors never explain properly, and it can be deadly. Many seniors are prescribed beta blockers, statins, or blood thinners. But did you know that some of these medications, when taken without food, either lose their effectiveness or become dangerously potent? Blood pressure medications on an empty stomach may lower your pressure too quickly, leading to dizziness, falls, or even passing out. Statins taken without fat don't absorb well. Blood thinners can cause stomach irritation, ulcers, or bleeding when swallowed without a meal. And worse, if your body is dehydrated and fasting, drug metabolism becomes unpredictable. That's why it's crucial to ask your doctor or pharmacist, should I take this with food? With water only? What time is best? And if you're on multiple medications, a small protein-based snack before your pills might be the safest heart-saving move you make all day. Mistake number 1. Ignoring morning chest discomfort. This is the most dangerous and the most ignored. Many seniors feel tightness, heaviness, or burning in their chest early in the morning, especially after waking. They often mistake it for acid reflux, muscle stiffness, or just getting old. But statistically, most heart attacks occur between 6 o'clock and 11 a.m., a window where cortisol surges, blood pressure spikes, and inflammatory markers peak. If your arteries are partially blocked or your heart is already fatigued, the morning can be a war zone inside your chest. And sadly, early signs are often missed. Shortness of breath while brushing teeth, slight nausea after climbing stairs, a dull ache in the jaw or left shoulder, a sense of dread. These aren't random, they're often the heart whispering, "Help me." Do not wait for Hollywood-style pain. If you feel unusual pressure, fatigue, dizziness, or strange aches in the morning, especially if they improve with rest, call your doctor immediately. Don't wait and see. Morning discomfort could be the only warning you get before your heart gives out, and it deserves your full attention. So now you know. These 5 harmless habits, rushing out of bed, drinking coffee before water, skipping breakfast, mismanaging medications, and ignoring early signs, aren't just routine mistakes. They are slow, quiet assaults on a heart that has already served you loyally for decades. And here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to protect your heart, you just need to be aware. Every morning is a chance to either heal or harm your cardiovascular system. And that choice, believe it or not, begins before you even get out of bed. In the next section, I'll walk you through the morning protocol I now recommend to every patient over 60, simple, science-backed steps that can strengthen your heart, energize your mornings, and potentially add years to your life. The morning protocol that could save your heart. Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing, truly knowing, that your very first actions are helping your heart, not hurting it. That instead of pushing through the fog, the fatigue, the stiffness, you're gently waking up your most vital organ with compassion, not caffeine alone. Here's the simple truth. Your heart doesn't need complexity. It needs consistency. And it starts with the first 60 minutes of your day. Before you do anything, before your phone, before your pills, before your coffee, place a glass of water by your bed and drink it. Slowly. Not in a rush. This alone reduces the thickness of your blood, restores hydration, and lowers morning cardiac stress. Then sit at the edge of your bed. Close your eyes. Flex your feet. Breathe. 10 deep, belly-filling breaths. Allow your nervous system to shift from panic mode to peace mode. Now stand. Gently. Walk to the kitchen. Eat something real. A few soaked walnuts, half a banana, or a boiled egg. Something with magnesium, potassium, or protein. Not to fill your belly, but to tell your heart, you're not alone. And then, if you must, enjoy your coffee, but only after water and food. Then, take your medication as advised, with food, if needed, never on an empty, dry stomach. This protocol doesn't take more than 15 minutes, but it can change the next 15 years of your life. I've seen it bring color back to pale cheeks, breath back to exhausted lungs, peace back to anxious mornings. It's not about fear. It's about love. Love for the heart that's still beating, quietly, faithfully, every single morning. A gentle plea from one beating heart to another. If you've read this far, maybe it's because something deep inside you is whispering, softly, urgently, that it's time to make a change. Maybe you've felt that strange flutter in your chest when getting out of bed. Maybe you've noticed the heaviness that shows up each morning and disappears by noon. Or maybe you're thinking of someone you love, a parent, a partner, a friend, who brushes off the signs, who looks fine but seems off. The truth is, we rarely get warnings in bold letters. Most heart failure stories don't start with alarms. They start with silence. With mornings that feel a little harder. With energy that fades faster than it used to. But today, you've been given something precious. Awareness. You now know what so many don't. And that means you have power. So I ask, gently but firmly, don't keep this to yourself. If this touched you, if it reminded you of someone, share it. Let it reach the people who need it before it's too late. Leave a comment. Tell me what your mornings are like. Let others see they're not alone. And if you want more real conversations like this, no hype, just heart, consider subscribing or following along. Not for me, but for the quiet part of you that knows health isn't just about looking okay. It's about staying here longer, living better, and loving deeper. One morning at a time. Because every morning is a second chance. Some stories stay with us, not because they're dramatic, but because they feel personal. Because somewhere deep down we recognize ourselves in them. Maybe Gerald's story reminded you of someone you've lost. Or maybe it whispered truths about your own mornings, about the quiet signals your body has been sending. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean deeper awareness, better choices, and more meaningful days, if we're willing to listen. Your heart has never stopped working for you, not for a single second. It's been with you through every laugh, every loss, every sunrise. And now it's asking you to give something back. Not grand gestures. Just presence. Just water before coffee. Breath before movement. Food before medication. Love before hurry. That's what this journey is really about. Learning to live gently with ourselves so we can stay longer for the ones who need us. The morning doesn't have to be a threat. It can be a ritual. A moment of quiet strength. A promise to your body that you still care. And if today is the first day you decide to make that promise, then let it be this: I will not take my heart for granted. Say it out loud if you must. Let it echo into tomorrow. Because one day your story might be the one that helps someone else survive. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful heartbeat of all.